Hey guys, this is Jean-Claude. Going to be opening up another deck today. Let's see what we have inside this one. Alright. Okay, it's going to be a gray Archon or silver. Saurian is the first house. Okay, the one time I don't say anything about Brobnar, here it is. We had been pretty lucky up until this point. And shadows. Swiftly bird-hipped Xenophanes. And that is some pretty big eyes. I'm going to guess it's like the nose and nostrils right here. I'm going to call these ears and crazy looking legs. Like maybe this is like some sort of, well, I was going to say underwater, but this background makes me think it's like traveling through dimensions or something. Or maybe like through like technology. That's kind of cool. First time I've really seen, like, maybe we'll call this a pixelated background. Alright, let's see what we have inside this thing. And with this having both Brobnar and Saurians, we're hoping it's going to be a very good board control deck. Maybe have some big steel cards and shadows to help round out the deck. Alright, let's see what we got here. And it's Pawn Sacrifice. Pawn Sacrifice. Hold up. Yes, it's a legacy card. Okay, I didn't think this was in the last set. And whenever you play it, sacrifice a friendly creature. If you do, deal 3 damage each to 2 creatures. That's a pretty good card. Special Delivery. It's an artifact, and whenever you play it, Omni, sacrifice it, deal 3 damage to a flank creature. If this damage destroys that creature, purge it. Oh, a second Special Delivery. Starting off strong with a lot of damage in here. Skeleton Key. It's an artifact. Action. A friendly creature captures an amber. Yancey Gang. 5 power. Action. Steal an amber. Simon, 1 power skirmish, fight. Put the creature Simon fights on top of its owner's deck. Ronnie Wrist Clocks, 2 power. Play, steal an amber. If your opponent has 7 or more, you get to steal 2 instead. Kaimor Eclipse, shuffle each flank creature into its owner's deck. Good with that, Ronnie. A second one of those. Jay Vinda, 2 power elusive. Reap, deal 1 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, get to steal 1. Okay, a little bit of steal in here, not too bad. Hawk, 1 amber whenever you play it. Destroy an artifact. If you do, gain an amber. Okay, I like that we actually had 3 artifacts in here so far, so worst case scenario, we can destroy one of our own artifacts just to get the additional amber. Hit and run, deal 2 damage to a creature, return a friendly creature to your hand. So only 1 play effect so far with the Ronnie. This Shadows is actually pretty light on creatures. I think there's 3, if I'm remembering correctly, 4. Forgetting about Simon there. And now we're on to Saurians. It's Auto Legionary. It's an artifact. Action. Put Auto Legionary on a flank of your battle line. While it is in the battle line, it is considered a creature with 5 power and belongs to all houses. I've played with this card several times. I don't really like it. It's a really slow creature. Yes, it has this huge perk of being every single house, which can play nicely with some of the cards that abuse having multiple houses out, but even some of those are restricted by how many houses it affects, like Trust No One is only up to a maximum of 3. This is a card that you need to high roll with. You got to have a lot of really good cards with it for it to have some value. Really, as it stands, I mean, being a slow, only 5 power creature with no other effects, I'm not too big on that. Draco Preco, 4 power Reap. You may exalt it. If you do, choose a house. Enrage each creature of that house. That's going to hit our Auto Legionary. City State Interest. Each friendly creature captures an amber. Centurion Stenopeus, 3 power, 2 armor. Gets plus 3 power for each amber on it. Play, fight, Reap. You may exalt it. Tricerian Legionary, 5 power, 1 armor, taunt. Play, ward a friendly creature. Oh, a second one of those. Always a fan of that card. The Golden Spiral, it's an artifact. Action, exalt a friendly creature. Ready to use that creature. Rettergallum, 3 power. Play, your opponent's keys cost plus 3 amber during their next turn. Reap, you may exalt it. If you do, your opponent's keys cost plus 3 amber during the next turn. Great amber control there. Questor Jarda is 3 power elusive. Reap, you may exalt Questor Jarda. If you do, gain 1 amber. Okay, not too bad considering we also have the 2 taunt creatures in here. Phalanx Strike. Amber whenever you play it, choose a creature. Deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. So we don't really have any ways to protect our amber that's going on to creatures so far. But these are still great effects either way. Odiak the Patrician, 5 power. Play, capture an amber. While it has amber on it, your amber cannot be stolen. Great card. Ooh, Axiom of Grisk. Finally a deck where it doesn't hurt our Saurians. Ward a creature, destroy each creature with no amber on it, gain 2 chains. Yeah, like, let's see, just kind of glancing through here, I'm pretty sure just about every creature except for the taunts, we're putting amber on them. Yeah, okay. Even the Draco can exalt itself, so that's not bad at all. Very good card in this deck. And now we're on to Brobnar. Oh, Brobnar. Mog Hunter's Brew, amber whenever you play it. Give a creature 2+1 power counters. Might help some of those Saurians that were putting amber on survive a little bit longer. Oh, and another brew. We have 2 megas in this deck. This one is Chieftain's Brew, amber whenever you play it. Same deal, give a creature 2+1 power counters. There's the Mega Mog Hunter, 8 power. Fight, deal 2 damage to a flank creature. That's at least a good Brobnar creature. There's the Mega Ganger Chieftain, the additional 2 power attached to it, bumping it up to 7. Play, you may ready and fight with the neighboring creature. Just a very powerful effect. Oh, an Old Boomy. This card probably should not have been in Brobnar. 2 power Reap. Reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a Brobnar card or choose to stop. Deal 2 damage to Old Boomy if a Brobnar card was revealed. Archive each card revealed this way. Hold up. This card is actually better than it typically is in most Brobnar decks. We'll get to that at the end. Smith, Amber in every plate. Gain 2 Amber if you control more creatures than your opponent. Gravel Guts, 5 power. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Gravel Guts, give Gravel Guts 2 +1 power counters. Tremor, stun a creature and each of its neighbors. Stiltkin, 2 power skirmish. After a giant creature is played adjacent to Stiltkin, ready and fight with Stiltkin. I'm not too big on this card, but I already see something we can do with this, which will be pretty cool. Stiltkin needs to have some sort of effects to make him really powerful. On his own, just having the giant ability to be able to fight is not that great. Groke, 5 power. Fight, your opponent loses an Amber. Berserker Slam. Amber, whenever you play it, deal 4 damage to a flank creature. If this damage destroys that creature, its controller loses an Amber. Very nice. And the final card of the deck is Barn Raising. For the remainder of the turn, your opponent loses Amber each time a friendly creature fights. That Brobnar actually didn't look too bad. I think the weakest house in here might have been Shadows, although it is pretty good for getting some Amber. All right, let's get our Amber up to start. This is a very interesting looking deck to me. Looking forward to see how many creatures there were total. I know there was a decent amount in Saurian. Yeah, really cut down the Amber we could have got from there. Oh, Auto Legionary. Just not that great of a card. Okay, Hawk's pretty good. All right, let's see. Ooh, yeah, we're going to be kind of light in the Amber here. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, and you know what? We can probably bump it right up to 13 because I love our odds of getting the extra Amber off of Hawk here. So 13, not a great number, but this is hopefully a bigger board deck. Although we know our Shadows is pretty light on creatures. And I guess thinking back to it, Brobnar didn't have that many either. Oh, man. Well, before we get to the creatures, let's get our Amber control up. Pretty important. You need to be able to slow your opponent down so they just can't win the game outright. You want to have something that threatens them so they don't want to just rush, right? Forcing some of your opponents to have to try and build a board does slow them down, allowing you to build a board yourself, especially in this style deck. Having big Amber control cards can force your opponent's decks to play different, which will really help you out, not allowing them to just rush. So yeah, slowing them down is pretty key. Oh, and Yeti Gang as well. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is quite a bit more than I was thinking originally, but to be fair, some of these aren't the most reliable, like J Venda, and also the Barn Raising. Barn Raising is one of those cards that looks really good, but you need so many things to line up, and it's not a card you want to hold on to forever. If your opponent's able to deal with your Brobnar cards, you're not going to get that much value out of this, and we really need to go back through and see just how many Brobnar creatures we had. That was a very surprising Amber control count. Let's see how many creatures we have in here. Those Saurians are definitely going to lead that. Oh man, and yeah, I love how, once again, this Brobnar was like, oh yeah, it looks a little bit better, but there was 2 creatures. Count them, 2, they had 2 power in here. Oh, how sad is that? Auto Legionary I'm going to put up as a creature, but man, it is not a good one. Alright, we have 1, 5, 10, 15, 18, okay, well, the fact that I counted Auto Legionary there, that is not that great. Alright, let's talk a little bit about what this deck can do. Oh, and actually right before that, let's go ahead and see just how many Brobnar creatures we did have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 Brobnar creatures. Remember, 2 of those are 2 power. But at the same time, Old Boomy could be pretty powerful. Actually, let's talk about that. That's something I said we'd get back to a little bit later on. Why is Old Boomy better in this deck than most Old Boomy decks? Well, it's simply because we have 2, count them, 2, brews. Now if Old Boomy can survive, like let's say maybe we got to put it next to one of those Tricerian Legionaries to protect it, and Old Boomy is around for another turn, we give it 2+1 power counters, so that whenever you use this effect, we don't care if we hit a Brobnar card, right? Let's archive as many cards, so we have all these cards to use in the future, let them take the 2 damage, it doesn't matter, we'll get that effect again. That's actually pretty powerful. I like having these brews with the Old Boomy, first time I've seen that. The big house of this deck definitely has to be the Saurians. There's some good and bad regarding that. Let's just pull up the Saurian house for the most part. Actually, just the creatures. The creatures and maybe one other card is what we need to pull up. Actually, 2 because of that city-state interest. Very, very good. Axiom of Grisk, we talked about how great of a card it is, especially because all these creatures put amber on themselves. Let's see how many creatures we had. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kind of 8. Gonna put that in the back. That's pretty good. Look how many of these are protecting themselves. You're giving them amber. Every single creature, right? Either we're going to be able to exalt it or it captures, puts amber on in some way, or protects itself. Makes this Axiom of Grisk really powerful. Plus, the ones that don't have amber on them, we can potentially city-state interest to get amber on them just to protect it with that. As I said, Saurians are the big house of this deck, and if we can get maybe 4 of these to stick, I think that could pretty much be the path to victory. On the flip side, there's actually 2 cards in here that are a problem because we have all these Saurians adding all this amber to themselves, and of course the last 2. Kymor Eclipse. This is a very powerful card. I love this card. I'm a big fan of it. But having it in this deck with all these Saurians and things that are putting the amber on themselves, whether it's a Skeleton Key, the Phalanx Strike, there's a lot of amber we're going to be taking away from our opponents, but these Kymor Eclipses, they really kind of counter it. So if you have Kymor Eclipses in your deck with Saurians, be careful what's on your outside flanks. You got to always be aware of that. The amber control really did surprise me in this deck. I liked it quite a bit. Oh, one other thing on Stiltkin here. First time, and I'm sure a lot of you have it out there, because they're both commons, but here we go. First deck I've actually had that has Ganger Chieftain and Stiltkin. This should work that if you play Stiltkin, play the Ganger Chieftain with it, you're going to get this effect twice. So you get to fight 2 times. That's actually pretty cool. And if we have a brew to put on them, that would be 4 power skirmish twice. That is actually kind of nice. Yeah, this Brobnar in here is serviceable. It's a little bit better than average, actually. It does have some tricks, bigger creatures which are nice. Love having the 8 and 7 power creature. That's really what Brobnar should have been like in this set. Should have been real huge creatures to compete with those Saurians. We should not have just given Saurians everything. Alright, the rating for this deck, it's definitely a board deck. Those typically rate lower than, say, rush decks, combo decks, some really powerful amber control decks that have a lot of too much to protect, things that counter the rush decks. This deck didn't really have any great Reapers outside of the Saurians. But said, it being a board deck, it's pretty good for a board deck. It's going to put it a little bit above average. I'm going to rate this thing at a B-. I would love to put it higher because it has some really big, impactful cards in it, like that city-state interest and the barn raising. But the problem is they are kind of conditional. For it being a board deck, we actually had a lower creature count than most board decks. So it does have some negatives there. Alright guys, well thank you very much for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time.